We are live. Let me double check. We are. All right. I'll follow along on my phone so that I can see comments. And that way we can answer questions if people have them. Excellent. Yay, Laura's on. Okay, cool. It is working. All right. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I am Lisa Zimmer, doTERRA Blue Diamond. All that means to you is I love to help lots of people learn about doTERRA essential oils, and I love to help people doing the doTERRA business learn how to do it better. So we have a special guest today. We're very blessed that she took the time out of her busy schedule to help us. Melissa, I have your name two ways. I have Melissa
Reese.
Reese. Okay, excellent. So Melissa here, and you're a nurse practitioner, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So Melissa Reitz is here. She's a nurse practitioner and with doTERRA, and she's going to help educate us on how to speak to, approach, get comfortable with, what language to use for medical professionals. So because we want to help medical professionals find their way to implementing the natural health care of doTERRA with their current healthcare system in a comfortable, safe way. I had someone explain this to me once. I was on an incentive trip and I was talking to a medical professional who's really successful in doTERRA. And I said, tell me, because we have medical professionals on our team who say, yeah, I want to do the business. And then it just doesn't click for them. And he said, here's the challenge. When it comes to medical professionals, we've already climbed Mount Everest to get to where we are in our life. Does that resonate with you? And he was like, you can't come to us and say, oh, look at my little brown bottles. And now you get to climb Mount Everest again and learn some other way of healthcare that's completely different. When we're already successful and we're already, happy with our income stream, like you have to find another way to approach people and find the language that's going to resonate with them. And that really clicked for me because that's, we have chiropractors who just it hasn't clicked yet, other medical professionals. And so I appreciate you coming today to share with us. So will you start with telling us how you discovered doTERRA?
Yeah, so I actually discovered doTERRA from patients. So it was wonderful. My entry into doTERRA was Deep Blue. I had a number of patients. I think there was a handful, maybe 4 or 5 patients that over about a year, they came in with the Deep Blue, or they told me that there was this thing called Deep Blue that worked for them for their arthritic pain. And then I had a patient come in with a sample and was like, please give this to the people that you take care of.
Yes.
So I had been using essential oils for a very long time. My mom, who's actually on my team as well, was always giving me oils to use for everything, when I was pregnant, when I was breastfeeding, all of that. But it was great because she just gave it to me. So I was like, I never need to do anything because I just get it from my mom. And so she was finally like, Melissa, you're old enough. You should probably get your own oils. So then after these patients coming to me, I decided that this was something that I wanted to use in my life on a more regular basis rather than just periodically when I was having issues. Yeah. So I signed up, and Deep Blue was like part of every kit, thankfully. So I did the kit, and then I quickly got the rub, and both of my children are athletes. So started using it on them. And just as the patients told me, it worked incredibly well. And then I recognized that as I was speaking to patients about essential oil use, a lot of them were using essential oils in one way or another, most of them not doTERRA.
Perfect segue.
Yeah, so when I discovered that, I recognized that if I wanted to be the practitioner that I really hope to be, which is to be open to all modalities of healing, even if there isn't a specific study behind it, I needed to learn more about using essential oils and how they work and opening that conversation up to patients. So.
Excellent. So what are for obviously Deep Blue, right? So like, do you have the big Deep Blue pump on your
I haven't done that. I haven't done it yet, but we're gonna do it this year because I swear we go through that, and I give it away. I do vendor events, and I'm always like, that's the one that I'm always giving. I do the vendor events for other nurse practitioners, and they're always having pain, right? Like shoulders, neck tension, hands with all the typing that we do in our profession. So I'm getting it this year because it's ridiculous.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, doTERRA has, I think it's a 1 liter pump of deep blue. It's about $200, but it's a huge, incredible savings. And I just got my first one. It came in the mail last week. And I'm like, we are setting this out. When I work with clients, I work at my dining room table. So deep blue, big old honking deep blue is going to be on the corner of the dining room table now. It's going to be a permanent fixture because it works. It's that simple, like, and it's immediate results. So many people always ask me, like, when am I going to have results? Well, with that one, it's immediate.
So fast.
To win people over while they're sitting with you, whether it's in a, doctor's office or at the dining room table or at a vendor fair, or everybody, when your budget allows, get that 1 liter pump of deep blue, especially now that we know, like, for you specifically, right, medical professional, it was your gateway product.
Yeah. And it's really a great gateway that I've found because my team is largely made up of nurses and nurse practitioners, and that blend has been a beautiful gateway to allow them to really try the oils and incorporate the oils more into their life. So yeah, definitely.
And one of my passions is teaching people about solutions for aches and discomforts, because I was so uncomfortable for 3 years. And so also with the where we live, the opioid epidemic and abuse of opiates, we're really working so hard to help people find the aches and discomfort solutions, and they're in the starter kits. So speaking of that, what in the starter kits are your must-haves for your practice? So I remember you talking about the diffuser in the waiting room, and what do you like to have in the diffuser and how strong and whatnot? So tell us what you literally implement as your, like, planting of seeds throughout the office to help win people over.
Yeah, so we have a diffuser with the medical assistant that I work with kind of sits in between our 2 rooms, which is a really nice setup. So she uses whichever blends she is needing for the day because it helps her during the day, because I have one in my office as well. Her favorite right now is Breathe, for sure. We do dilute them more than I do in my house, right? At home, I just, want to I want to smell everywhere. So at the clinic, we have, with the pedal diffuser, I'll usually start with just 4 or 5 drops, and that's it. And then if it doesn't seem like that's strong enough, then we can add a drop throughout the day. The pedal diffuser is lovely because it goes our whole day. So we don't have to worry about turning it on or off. And with only the 2 clinic rooms, we just turn it on in the morning and then leave it on. The ones that I tend to diffuse more, I pretty much every day it's On Guard right now. Like, I just brought a brand new huge bottle of On Guard because it's perfect to help protect the medical assistant I work with and myself. And then also for patients, right? Because they're coming in and out, but they don't know who was in the room prior to them. And even though we're trying to clean things off, it's still a great one.
That's a brilliant point. I never even think of that. Like, you get the papers, and things are wiped down, but people that are sick are breathing in the air, and it is not like just disappearing because they leave the room. So literally every patient room should have a diffuser in it, cleansing and cleaning the air with and immune boosting with the On Guard. I never thought about it. That's a really good idea.
I tend not to use Breathe in the rooms because when I've used it, it's just been a little too potent. I think that some people are a little bit more sensitive to the peppermint and the eucalyptus. So but again, that's out with stuff with the medical assistant I work with, and it's a larger area, so it can diffuse more into the air, whereas the clinic rooms tend to be a lot smaller.
Yeah, I like that. Okay.
And then always lavender. So I really like lavender and frankincense if we're talking about the top 10. So I'll blend those 2. Frankincense a little less because it is so pricey, and I'm diffusing every day, so I like And then I know we were talking about this the first time we spoke, but with the lavender, I use that actually for the majority of my procedures. So the studies on lavender are just so incredible in terms of reducing stress, making someone feel a little more comfortable when they're about to do something that they're fearful of because they haven't ever probably had the experience of whatever I'm doing.
So how do you use it? Do you have them smell it? Do you put it on a cotton ball,
Yeah.
in your hands?
Sometimes we'll be diffusing it, just kind of depends on the day, but more often than not, we have these large cotton swabs. We call them Texas swabs. And so you only need one drop. So a bottle of lavender will actually last us quite a while, even though, I mean, like a month, probably every month we'll go through a bottle of lavender. So you just put a drop on the cotton swab, and then I think it works twofold because they have the aromatic benefit, but then they're also holding on to something. And so they have something to do with their hands, with their body, while
like they have some control.
Exactly. And there are some really incredible studies that have demonstrated efficacy with the use of lavender for that purpose. So that's one that I use a lot.
Good. I know our healthcare system here just implemented the use of essential oils, and it's the aromatic benefits for, post surgical nausea with the peppermint, and labor and delivery. They use the lavender for calming. And so, yeah, I love it.
And that would be the other thing that peppermints actually come in really useful for. I hadn't had it at the clinic, but I always carry my little keychain. And so whenever I have somebody that's about to pass out, which just randomly happens, I'll bring out the peppermint, and every time they're like, okay, like back at it. So that's kind of one of my, the majority of the oils in that top 10 are, we use frequently in clinical practice. I don't personally use Melaleuca in clinical practice. However, it has a number of benefits clinically. I don't own the clinic where I practice, so I use the oils in a method that is acceptable to the owners of my practice.
Yep. And so that's one tip, right? So not every medical professional that you speak to is going to be able to incorporate this into their practice. So don't take it personally. For example, a number of my healthcare professionals, right? They're owned by corporations that are not on board with that. So don't get feelings hurt when you're presenting this option to a physician and they're not receptive to it. So one of the main purposes we're talking about this today is we're coming out with tomorrow by 5:00 p.m. Central Standard Time, the trifold for medical professionals. And it would be used, right? So say I go see Melissa and I'm a doTERRA advocate and I want to talk to her about using doTERRA in her practice, right? Not only do I want to make sure that I'm talking to her about using the essential oils for her own health and wellness, but these business professional series trifolds that we're launching, we already have realtor, and now we're going to have medical professionals for spas, facial and massage spas, and for gyms, yoga studio, Pilates. These all come out tomorrow. They're to help you, not only help them use them personally, but help them incorporate them into their businesses and practices. And so this way I have a tool, right? Because again, like holding something makes you feel like more comfortable and in control of something, right? So I don't have to come up with all these words when I talk to my medical professional, because remember, your medical professional, depending on the practice, might have 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 15 if you're really lucky, depending on the practice. So you can't sit there and word vomit about your doTERRA, but it would be very easy for you to leave a trifold behind and a deep blue rub sample. What would you say would be, so I'm not a big proponent of sampling unless it's the right setting. So I don't just go around and hand out samples to everyone and expect miracles to happen. I qualify the people. Like you would be one that I would qualify. I would be willing to give you a 50-cent deep blue rub, right? And my trifold. What else would you suggest that when they hand off their doTERRA for medical professionals trifold to you, what else would you think that would be easy, affordable, and win people over aside from the Deep Blue rub sample?
I think that we obviously really love the science, right? I mean, no matter, it's like you talked about that huge mountain that we've already climbed. The majority of that mountain that we climbed was memorization and studies and research and statistics. So I don't think it would be a bad idea to have included in whatever folder you give the trifold, which is fantastic because it simplifies things and is quick and you read it and you're there. Possibly like a study or two on the oils that you're providing as a sample. I do think that samples are really important. That's what drew me in, and that's what draws the other medical professionals that I have on my team to my team, was that they had a personal experience with the oils. Mm-hmm. So while we're healers, you know, I mean, that was the other thing when I was thinking about this that I wanted to just note, is that the people that you want on your team, right, are going to be the type of medical person that's going to be open to these things. Mm-hmm. So you were saying it earlier, don't take it personally if somebody's like, no, they're not ready, they're not there, they're not open. And is that somebody that you necessarily, you know, desire? Mm-hmm. So, but to give them maybe a sample of lavender again, because that is one that's incredibly safe, and doTERRA's is so beautiful and has that soothing, calming effect on anyone that has that experience with it. Mm-hmm. So I think lavender, and like you said, deep blue, and then possibly breathe, because breathe is such an exceptional blend, and just has such potential to be beneficial not only to the practitioner, but then also as a healer for their patients.
Excellent. Yeah, I love that. And so I want to help people get comfortable with the right way to sample, because this is a good scenario to sample. And so it's not just give them tons of stuff, right? One is great. And two, they have to have a personal experience. Yes. And that, remember I talked about healthcare professionals that we weren't successful with? It was because we were focused on and had the vision of, I know they can be amazing at this and change the world, but we went straight in and helped them do the business. We did not step back and say, awesome, Susie Q, this will be great for your business, but let's focus on you first. Let's help you have your miracle moment, your aha moment, your doTERRA experience. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't help make that connection with them, they're already successful in business, and they're not going to make, another six figures in a month, right? It's going to take time to build it. And if they don't have that personal experience to say, I love doTERRA no matter what, so I am going to present it because I know what it can do for my patients and I'm passionate about that. If you don't get that moment, they will fail. Right? Because they'll throw in the towel. Because if they're just paying attention to the expand your income streams section of the trifold, they never have that moment. That's a big old F for failure right there. Right? And so you heard it from Melissa, right? She had her miracle moment with the deep blue. And so you have to listen. So you've probably seen some of our graphics and videos in here. It comes to listening, right? So you're going to treat your medical professional the same way that you're going to treat everybody else that you talk to. So Melissa, like working in here, do you have stress? Do you have, aches and discomforts from standing all day, or tell me what you got going on? You would still 60-second enrollment your medical professional. And that's why it's so important to learn the quick, easy 60-second script, because I would still use that with Melissa because I want to help her. I want to respect her time. I don't want to word vomit because I have such limited time with her that's so valuable. So I want to just find those key couple phrases to help win her over. I want to hear what she's saying, right? So if it is aches and discomforts, I'm going to have in my purse everywhere I go that deep blue packet. Boom, done. Here's the medical trifold. You know you're going to go see your medical professional, so you can plan ahead this time, right? It's not like your Uber driver or running into someone in an elevator. You know you're going there. So because she listed off like the top 5 things to have a dram of breathe or a 5 milliliter roller or whatever you're comfortable explaining. I'm big on rollers because they require no education, and we did not have a lot of success early in our business with drams because people were confused by them and how to use them. And a roller, I can fit a label on, and boom, it'll have my roller label of lavender, in a 5 ml, it'll be like 10 drops lavender, the rest fractionated coconut oil. My label will say for calming, stress, sleep, and roll wrist, neck, and inhale, and then my name and phone number, right? So they're going to know who to call. They're not going to forget who gave it to them. They're going to know how to use it, where to apply it, how often. You can put as needed, right? So that's my passion for the 5 milliliter rollers, because I can accomplish everything I need on that label as well. But you've got to treat your medical professional like a person. They're not a cash cow for you. They're a human being who has a goal of changing the world and healing people, right? So respect what your medical professional is there for, and treat them like a person and win them over to this world by taking care of them first.
Yeah.
Does that sound accurate?
Yeah, and I would just say don't be intimidated either. I mean, definitely as a nurse practitioner, we don't have that same level of intimidation. I live in practice in New Mexico, and we have complete autonomy here. So I care for my patients, I prescribe, I do all of those things. But I think with physicians, there's it's easy to become very intimidated and to be like, who this person, they're people, they're just people, and they have the exact same pain, whatever that might be, as all of us do. So just not being intimidated by that, and recognizing that the reason that we do this is we want people to have the experience and to have the gift that the oils brought into our lives, and they deserve the same. So it's a disservice, right? If we feel so intimidated and so held back because of their professional title that we don't offer it to them, that's too bad. And so I would just encourage anybody who has someone in mind that they've been thinking about talking to, or allowing them the opportunity to have the experience with the oils with this trifold. You've got that in hand, a sample, and then offer that to them, because they're hurting too. I mean, everybody in some way has aches and pains in their bodies, hearts, minds. So
worst they can say is no.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. And remember, so many need 7 to 10 touches. How many touches do you think you had before you said, hey, I'm going to order this doTERRA? Probably more than 7 to 10 in your setting. You probably, for those who are just watching, what I mean by that is you have a lot of people, before they say yes to doTERRA, are exposed to it 7 to 10 times before they say, yeah, I want to get that too. So easily 7 to 10 for you, no problem. Yeah. So we don't give up after talking to someone one time, right? I'm not going to call her 10 days in a row. I'm going to, when the opportunity presents itself, right, chat about it and whatnot.
Yeah, and I had, I've been doing vendor events. I think we had our 4th one. I do it twice a year, and I think we had our 4th one, and I had a couple of people that signed up that they were like, this is the 4th time I'm seeing you. It's been 2, a year and a half. And I finally am like, there was something that was powerful enough that they recognized that incorporating the oils into their life was something that was going to be a benefit to them. But 2 years, 4th time I was there, I've been there doing the same thing. I haven't changed like my stuff. So absolutely. Yeah.
Don't give up. You know what I was thinking too? So I love the examples that you gave. Was it the Texas, what'd you call that huge Q-tip?
They're Texas swabs.
Texas swab. So that would be great. Like when you're talking to your medical professional, is that a term that everyone uses? Like
it's pretty standard. Yeah.
And you could say, hey, for anxiousness or stress for yourself or your patients, just take a drop of this lavender, right? And in that case, do a dram. And do a dram of lavender and hand off the lavender and say, you know how all the medical professionals use in doTERRA, use this. They put a drop of this lavender on the Texas swab and inhale it for feeling overwhelmed, stressed throughout the day. Then they also do that for their patients. So
Yes.
give your medical professional a specific, pertinent example of how you always, I really stress the word how, because that's the biggest obstacle we face in doTERRA is we're not giving people enough of the how to implement this. We just hand off something and expect them to get it. That's a perfect how.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I am going to plug in my computer really quick. Sorry, Lisa.
Oh, no, you're okay. I'm going to make sure that we haven't missed any questions. All right. Oh, I do. As soon as Melissa gets her computer plugged in here, I'm going to ask her about. Oh, perfect. Are you ready? Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So one of the questions is, how do you handle the dual relationship, like a conflict of interest with your medical practice and your doTERRA?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I was thinking on that as well. So I do not enroll any patients ever. I do not enroll my patients or patients that come to see me. If I see them out and about in a totally different environment and they come up to me and they're like, I heard you're doing doTERRA, I'd like to sign up with you, and doesn't have anything to do with clinic, then I'm happy to do a wellness consult with them. But while I'm in the clinic, I refer to other members that are on my team. And so then I have my team, which my mom is like one of the main people. And so I'll refer them out to somebody else on my team because I do see that as a conflict of interest in my clinic setting. There are certain practitioners that do not have that because they have just a different license or whatever that might be.
Sure.
But for myself in the environment where I work, it's not appropriate for me to do that. But I definitely send them to someone that can offer them the oils, get them signed up, give them an overview, do all of those things that I am confident that they have the knowledge and skill set and education to provide that.
Excellent. Good. I'm glad you answered that. I'm glad you asked that. Who was that? That was Carol. Thanks, Carol. All right. So to give you an idea of how this Zimmer system all comes together with the tools, to help make this easy and simple for you, right? So I have an appointment with Melissa. I go see her. I ask her if she's used essential oils before, etc. And I leave a medical professional trifold with her and leave a sample with her, whether it's if her priorities are aches and discomforts, or I can talk to her about leaving the dram of lavender and tell her to put it on the Texas swab, use it for herself, use it for patients, etc. Now, when Melissa implements doTERRA into her practice in this way, she would be handing off the traditional regular Zimmer trifold to her patients. Right? The medical professional trifold is for you to help bring on board your medical professionals. What they would actually use in their practice is our traditional trifold that's on our website that you use for every setting, right? And so to help you put all that together for how that would work. And then like she said, so she could simply hand off her Zimmer trifold with, if it's her mom or, say in her team, she has 3 different leaders that live in 3 different counties or whatever, she could know that her patient lived in this county and hand off that trifold for them to contact mom or contact the other leader in that area. Like, think about it logically, who would be the best person on your team, and just make sure as a medical professional, you have those trifolds ready to go. Oh, so you are interested in essential oils. Awesome. Call my sister Susie Q. She'll take care of you with that because I don't actually enroll patients here. Yes. Right? Okay, perfect. All right, let me see. Oh, also, I want you to talk about, someone said, would it still be conflict of interest if you referred them to a spouse? Yes, Laura, it would, because husband and wife in doTERRA are one distributor number. You can't have 2 separate accounts. So that would be a conflict of interest because it would be on the same account, basically. Right. So next I want you to talk about, if you would, your vendor events that you do.
Hmm.
And because your vendor event is, I don't know, maybe it'd be the same as our vendor event setup, but I have a feeling they're super specific for you. So let people know what your vendor event topics are, and then how do you grab people's attention and draw them into your vendor events?
So I always have a diffuser going, and that is like key. I mean, like, I think, again, nurse practitioners, physicians, like, we're all human. So we all really, really are drawn. So the last vendor event I did, I believe I was diffusing on guard because of the time of year. So I definitely do. I have it set up more in terms of and I want to be compliant, but like the medical diagnoses, I kind of have them set up that way. So I'll have like an on guard setup, a deep blue setup, kind of immune support where breathe will be right by the on guard. So I definitely do set it up more in terms of how they may be able to use it. And trying not to use medical jargon, but my mom is always with me, so she's really good at like not using the words that I really want
down
to use.
For us.
Yes. So, and then I actually, I love making blends. I just love it so much. So this last one that I went to, I did have the blends that I've created, or that, recommendations from you with the holiday blends. And so I had some of those, and those were some of the gifts that I was offering for people who signed up. And yeah, so it's probably pretty similar to what everybody else is doing. I just orient it very specifically to body systems, if that makes sense.
Because that's how your mind works in your practice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. Right. So one of the questions, someone mentioned doTERRA to their doctor, and their doctor said they couldn't enroll with them because of the patient relationship. And so, for example, another way around that, one, maybe they were just saying, no, I don't want to enroll with you. But two, if that is the case, same thing, you could still leave the sample with them. You could still leave the trifold, and then refer them to someone in your downline that could enroll them, right? Just, I want to, this is a great question because it gets me onto a topic that I wanted to talk about in Biz Tips in the coming weeks. And that was an abundance and team mindset. So like, I want to help people get past, well, that's mine. That's my person. doTERRA is a team system. And so be excited that you have this opportunity to help this person, even if it can't be you. Right. And so have an abundance mindset. It's still beneficial to everyone for these people to get into doTERRA, even if you aren't the main point of contact. Right. So help your medical professional that said, I can't get my account with you. Help them get hooked up with someone underneath of you that can. Right. Yeah. Don't deny people the opportunity to get these miracles in brown bottles because you're thinking about your business and how it would play out, right? So number one, help people get doTERRA and problem solve so that you can. And so, but maybe they just didn't want to enroll with you too, and that's okay. I always come back to, there was some horrible book out, and it was about relationships and dating, and I can't remember all of it, but it was basically, he's just not that into you. So I like to apply that in doTERRA too, right? Because people will be like, they'll come to see me and I'll say, have you, been introduced to doTERRA before? Yeah, someone at a vendor event. And, oh, there's a lady in my neighborhood, but I don't want to work with her. I'm going to help them get their doTERRA because they just weren't into the other people. It's okay. Keep going. There are, how many people are on this planet? 7 billion or something? I don't know, right? There's plenty of people. We only have 7 million people in doTERRA. Keep going. Yeah. Leave them a tool. Try to win them over.
And the people that you want on your team are going to want to be on your team. And that's how you want to grow and develop. And because the objective, right, is to allow everybody to use these as a tool for healing.
Yeah.
And maybe you're just not the right person for them.
Find more people.
Yeah, and what you said about trying to figure out who on your team might be that person. You know, my mom is a massage therapist, so she's a perfect person for anyone who is kind of in the medical field to be on her team. So, so yeah, I just think that I have like 5 noises going on right now. I'm sorry if it's too loud.
Okay. Happens to me all the time.
Phone,
like, attention deficit. I'm like, you
I don't even have children in the house right now. But yeah, like thinking about if you're gonna go into a medical professional's office and kind of planning ahead that maybe they're gonna have that reaction of like, well, that's a conflict because you're a patient of mine, then already knowing who would be that person on your team that you would direct them to, that's going to be a great fit, that is going to maybe be a little more joyous about the science than what maybe even you are, because not all of us dig delving into the science, but there's probably somebody on your team that is something that brings them a lot of joy and is a reason they love the oils. So yeah, definitely.
Made something click for me, right? I have a PhD in applied physics on my team, and like the science, I'm just like, what? So she'd be perfect.
Right.
You lost me on that one, girlfriend. Steal that.
Right.
Perfect for that. So that was a good epiphany there for me. All right. So we have to get our doTERRA for medical professionals through compliance yet. They've been pretty quick. So our goal is to have our new trifolds loaded to lisazimmer.net/shop by 5:00 p.m. Central Standard Time tomorrow. I will post on Lisa Zimmer Essential Oils Biz Tips Facebook group when it's live, in case it does get held up with compliance for some reason, right? If someone's on vacation or whatever. So be patient with us, but the goal is to get these loaded tomorrow. We want to give you the tools so that you feel comfortable to approach anyone. And so tomorrow the goal is to have the medical professionals, the professional trifold for your gyms, yoga, Pilates, active lifestyle. In fact, I'm going to do a poll here in Biz Tips, and we want your feedback. The only trifold we're having difficulty titling is the doTERRA for fitness, because we don't know what title or language would be appropriate to encompass everyone: yoga, Pilates, CrossFit, gyms, Zumba, whatever. And we want to find a name like doTERRA for medical professionals, doTERRA for fitness, active lifestylers. So we're going to do a post and a poll and get your feedback so we can title that one that would be appropriate for all markets for the active lifestylers and fitness. So we sure appreciate your time today, Melissa.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to your feedback on the trifold. So just so you know too, when we put these trifolds together, right, we look for experts in these fields. That's not me. We're good at putting the whole package together, but we want to make sure that you have a tool that when you hand it off to your medical professional is going to be open to it. It's going to speak their language, and it's going to be a tool that is going to present well for you and present you in a good light. So you can have confidence in our tools for that. So thank you, Melissa. I sure appreciate your time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Everybody. I'll come back and answer more questions. All right. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye.